What's going on, guys? My name is Michael and we're back. Today I'm going to run you through the narratives that I'm currently investing in and the strategy that I hold to be as successful as possible in this current bull run. Of course, the last time that we did a video was during this bull run right here. It's been a very long time, but it's time to get back into it. We're going to drop weekly videos to show you guys the actual coins that I invested in and the strategy that I'm currently holding. I've picked three main narratives that I currently work with, and as you guys know, one of them last time was crypto gaming. The gaming play to earn space / NFT space was something that I heavily invested in. Currently, I don't do too much with the NFTs anymore. I had a Mutant Ape and I had a Neo Tokyo. I've actually sold both of them. Luckily, considering you look at the current floor price at 1.8 ETH on Mutant Apes, that is just brutal. I sold mine, I believe, for 18 Ethereum. So I actually still sold it with quite a bit of a, well, I made money along the way, considering I had the ApeCoin token drop and I sold at the absolute peak. I sold my Mutant Ape for 42 Ethereum when it was all the way at the peak. I believe I got $175,000 for it. I then bought back in a lot lower and for around $80,000, which was great, which was awesome. But then I did end up selling it with a loss, at least a loss from the second purchase that I made. I definitely do believe that there are still some good plays within the NFT space. Not something we're going to cover too much for today, but I think if we look at the NFT space, it's mainly about the actual developed games and the ones that have actual active token and a whole ecosystem around it. I believe that there's a lot of potential there. Aside from that, this is currently not my main focus. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when you look at a bull market, and of course last time we had a big run coming from absolutely nothing. The price was sitting at around $8,000 to $10,000 before we got into it, and it ran all the way to the peak of 63 and 67. We obviously had an amazing NFT bull run because that was the new thing that was around. During this run, NFTs were completely new, and every time something is completely new, it usually outperforms any other narrative. Currently, we see a massive run, so we've been going for a little while already, but the newest narrative, and it's not new anymore considering so many people have been talking about it already, but for this particular bull run, the newest narrative is, of course, AI. And within AI itself, I hold a couple tokens. I have a handful of tokens that I believe are a no-brainer play. If I would have to pick one token to invest in myself right now, I will go into Teo. Why? Is it's got proof of concept. It's got an active working platform. Plus, it's the pathway for other projects to build onto. So a lot of other projects are currently depending on Teo, which is the same situation with a lot of layer one projects, and that's the other narrative that I invest in. So fairly safe and secure. I can see a lot of outside potential still in Teo. Today we're not going to dive too deep into the projects individually, but we're more running over an overall overview, and in the upcoming videos I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into all these projects individually and as to why I hold them. I still hold Fetch. Originally I held quite a bit of Fetch, and of course after the merge I still kept my tokens. AIOZ Network is one of the projects that we hold, and PAL. One project I want to dive into a little bit today is this one, 0x0, because it's painful a little bit with 0x0. Overall, you would look at this project and think that it has more potential than most others. They cover AI, they cover security, and they cover privacy, which is extremely important at the moment. We obviously all know XMR, sorry. Monero is one of the tokens that I still hold to this day, and I hold quite a lot of them, and luckily so, because I bought in at around $150. I doubled my money here, or close to double my money. And purely people invest into Monero, even though it's not available on any of the major exchanges, because of its privacy element. It's one of the reasons that Bitcoin once initiated in the first place. People bought Bitcoin because of its privacy elements, and 0x0 is exactly that. It covers exactly that. The problem with 0x0, unfortunately, is that the marketing team or the team itself is just not giving the investors what they want. And we know in the crypto space, the project itself, the product that they have, but also the community around it, maybe the community in crypto is even more important, and they're just not really playing into that too well. If they change that, and if they get into the community building a little bit more, they can be in for a huge run, and this could be one of the biggest plays that I would have in this current bull market. So as I said before, they cover privacy and they cover the security, confidentiality. They have launched a couple of new elements. If we go to their Twitter, they did come with a couple of announcements where they're ready to go on the Binance Smart Chain, which is obviously a good step forward. But if you look at the sentiment around this, people aren't too happy with the team overall. They're not dripping out enough announcements, and the announcements itself aren't significant enough to really make that much of a change. So this is one of the projects that we really want to dive into a little bit more, because if they do turn it around, it could be one of the biggest plays. So as you can see, they've listened to the community itself, who was constantly stating it was too quiet. So they addressed it, but unfortunately, not too many people are very happy, even though it is a good post. And sure, there's some people that are going to be very positive about the comments. You know, I will be too. I'm more real and honest in here, of course, talking to you guys, but I would rather just hype it all up so that in the hope that more people are going to invest into it, which is what most people are doing. But a lot of them are saying the same thing. You know, they should really hire a team to be running the account. They should hire a marketing team. So they should hire an external team even. They're talking about internal here, but even an external team that can just help them with their community building. So that is something that I think that will really make a big difference, and that would help them just repel forward extremely, extremely, extremely fast. So this is still to this day my hope as to this is going to be the biggest play, but it is going to depend on the team itself. If not, it's probably just going to slowly die out and fall behind of the rest. If they do well, I can easily see this token go up to, you know, over $1, which means we still have a 15x in there all up, which is huge, of course. So along with Teo being my safest and secure post play, I think that 0x0 is the more risky but potentially highly rewarding play. Aside from Teo, 0x0, POW, and Fetch, we also hold. We might have scrolled past it already, looking at the market cap. DSYNC is one of the other plays. It might not even be in this list here. But DSYNC is, of course, a token that you've heard come across quite often lately as well. So those are my main AI plays in current market. Secondly, we obviously know that I am heavy into gaming. I think the gaming market just makes a whole lot of sense. Why? First of all, if you look at the Web2 gaming, there's over 2 billion people that are actively gaming. So once you tap into the gaming market overall, there is almost unlimited amounts of customers available. There's unlimited amounts of audience out there that would invest. Who wouldn't want to play a game and get paid for it? So Render is one of the biggest plays. Immutable is one of my big plays. Obviously, we know last time around, Gala, The Sandbox, Decentraland, and Axie were the biggest plays. This time around, I'm not looking at XC at all. I understand that last time most people made a lot of money purely because they were just actively playing the game or actively involved, or they outsourced people playing the game for them. Some of my friends did, and they made a whole lot of money doing that. The sandbox, same thing. It was the sandbox where people were able to come into and build within the sandbox. But usually I don't like investing in projects that did really well the last time around. I'm trying to find the new plays that are gonna be making a big difference in the current bull market. So one of the projects that I still do see quite a lot of potential in, mainly because of how well developed it all looks and how far ahead they are compared to a lot of their competitors, is Illuvium. Illuvium, looking at the gameplay itself, looks like it's well far ahead out of its competitors. It still has a fully diluted market cap of over $120 million. But yeah, as you can see, it's slowly but surely just died out. And sure, we have people out there that are traders and they actively trade on analytics. Myself, I focus a little bit more on logic and market sentiments and needs of what people want. And one of them is, of course, the chart itself. Most people would open up, look at this chart and not really do too much with it anymore. But if the market does turn around, if we get into the extreme bull market, we could see a big turnaround there. And imagine Illuvium going back up to its previous all-time high. There is a potential 100x in there. If that happens, I currently don't hold it myself, but it is interesting to just at least continue looking into a little bit. Echelon Prime, I hold currently. And Rio is more of a RWA, real world assets play, than a gaming play, but it is in the list here. Seedify is one of our old good friends. We played a lot on Seedify. We did a lot of launches on Seedify last time. But then my biggest investments, aside from Theo, my biggest holding is Theo itself. But as for the biggest holdings or the biggest narrative where I hold most tokens, is still the layer ones. Layer ones, you can't go wrong. It's more safe and secure, of course. Upside potential is a little bit less, but it depends on how much money you're playing with. I don't really want to lose the amount of money that I've invested into this, which is why I'd rather play safe and invest majority, so around 60 to 70% of my portfolio is sitting in layer ones, probably more 60. 30% is in AI, 10% is in gaming right now. My biggest hold, I hold some Ethereum. My biggest hold currently is Sui. My biggest play is Sui. It's fast, it's secure, it's effective, it works. So this is one of the projects that over the next videos, we're gonna dive a lot further into. And then Monero. So Monero, I hold a very big bag of Monero. It's probably overlooked by a lot of people because it's not widely available on the larger exchanges. But it's, in my opinion, a very safe bet because it does exactly what you want from a blockchain coin. It's purely focused on security, purely focused on privacy, anonymous transactions. It is heavily used in the underground world, of course. It's used on the black market. It's used within the gambling space. It's used for a variety of illegal things. But it's one of the reasons it's probably going to continue to be favored by, the illegal market is a big industry. So if they favor a coin like Monero, you know that from our investors' point of view, we're fairly stable and fairly safe there. So I believe it doesn't go up and down as much, but I believe that there's a steady increase in Monero throughout the next couple months and then the foreseeable future. So those are just some of the coins that I currently hold for the long term. That's kind of where my head's at long term investing wise. We've made quite a bit of money over the last couple months already, luckily, which is good. But I believe that we've still got a lot of legs left, a lot of room for growth. So over the next couple of videos, I'm gonna dive into these coins individually and show you why I've picked them, why I invested them, what I believe is good about them. Also, we'll dive into the actual strategy as to, you know, how I approach the bull market. But of course, aside from the long-term investing, as you guys know from the last videos that we've done, I'm heavy into finding smart plays that can make you money in a bit of a shorter period, which is obviously very helpful within the bull market because you can put it back into your longer term investment. So usually that's part of the strategy. I find the shorter term plays and I put that money into my long term holds. And then eventually we just slowly, you know, start selling it once we feel like we're getting close to the peak. So a lot to cover, a lot to go over. So I'll see you guys in the next video. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. I'll see you guys later.